If you're cutting out a garment in a checked fabric, there's a few extra things you need to bear in mind as you're cutting that you don't normally need to worry about. I work with checked fabrics a lot, so here's a few tips just to get the best results, to make sure your checks aren't wonky and to make sure that your garment's nice and symmetrical in the end. So there are a couple of ways of dealing with checks. One way is to make sure that it's laid out nice and straight on the table, nothing's warped. Give it a good steam press if it is and pull it into shape. And then cut out each piece of your garment singly. So cut one this way, flip it over, cut one the other way. So you're only ever cutting on a single layer of fabric. Once you've cut your first piece, you use that piece as a template. You then use that second piece mirrored, laid on the fabric, so you can match up the edges of it with your fabric. Once it looks sort of invisible, you know it's in the right place and you can cut out your second piece and they'll be exactly the same. If, like me today, you want to cut on the fold still, you don't want to go to the trouble of cutting something twice, there's something else you can do. So what I've done here is I've folded partially. I don't want to fold this fabric in half. I think I'm going to get the best use out of it by just folding enough to cut my first piece here. So I've halved this key check here, so that's half of that. And I've measured out wide enough so I know that the piece I'm going to cut will fit. Then what I'm doing is along the edge, I'm matching the checks. Then I'm taking pins, putting a pin through the corner of that check. You can choose a different reference point, whatever works for you. I'm just using this upper corner here, making sure it matches on both sides and pushing it through so that I know this check is as aligned as it's going to be. I've got more pins along the length. I will put more down here, and I'll probably put a few in the middle as well, being sure to check the opposite side of the fabric to make sure that everything's lined up. Once I've done that, I can lay my pattern piece on. I just have to be super careful as I'm cutting that I do not cut through or try to cut through any pins. You will seriously damage your scissors doing that. Just be very careful. And that will make sure that you've got two symmetrical checked pieces.